Magus, web novel, Chapter 74, Day 22. It was almost noon. Floria's group was about to call it a day, planning to resume after lunch. Belia was walking in the air. After all that had happened during their first day, she had kept picturing the forest like a hellish place, with dangers lurking behind every corner. That morning, instead, had been so peaceful that she had managed to calm herself and regain a bit of self-esteem. Vyson was of a different opinion. Damn, seeing Liths and Floria going along so well after a single fight together, I was really hoping to get the opportunity to prove myself to them. If a trembling jelly like Floria has managed to become our team leader in one day, why should I be any different? My family is in the magic business from generation 2, and my mom always told me that I am talented. Too bad that the Academy's professors do not agree with her. With Floria's foolproof plan and Lith covering my ass, I could show those beasts who is the boss. Sigh, instead all I did was picking fruits like *C King Monkey. Dash. Suddenly, the wildlife calls that had filled the air until a moment ago went quiet. Centaur's shriek cracked the silence, announcing its presence. Lith flew to Vyson's side, while Floria did the same for Belia. The two men units kept a distance between themselves of about 10 meters, 11 yards, close enough to be able to help each other in case of need, but far enough to not get caught by friendly fire. Unlike the first day, Vyson wasn't scared at all. Lith was already covering his back, so he started chanting his first warden spell, confiding in his partner's skill to buy him enough time. Thank you, gods, this is really my lucky day, I feel we can do it. But since you are already listening to me, can I also have the hot teacher from Principles of Advanced Magic fall into my arms, completely naked? Dash. Sadly, the mystic line between a man and his gods had to be gone bad. Instead of Nalir, it was Centaur diving downwards Vyson, its talons spread wide for the kill. Truth to be told, it was a female and was naked too, hence many could argue that 2/3 of the youth's prayer had actually been granted. Lith managed to finish his spell in time, conjuring 3 fireballs at once in a triangular formation along the Kron's trajectory. To avoid getting hit, Centaur was forced to conjure a strong updraft to make a U-turn and avoid the blunt of the explosion. Seeing that all eyes were still following its movements, after gaining altitude Centaur started flying in circles and preparing a trap. Coming from the opposite direction from their partner, Turman and Imruk tried to take the humans by surprise. Yet no one had actually paid any attention to the Kron, their casting uninterrupted. Floria had already conjured a tower shield made out of earth, its surface completely frozen. A perfect counter to most spells based on air or fire magic, the only elements a Rai could use. Belia was now wearing a thin suit of armor, formed by countless shards of ice, the number of which was rising at dramatic speed, covering every inch of her body and forming odd spikes on her back and arms. Imruk had often seen that spell in the past years, the Rai knew it meant troubles. Turman, we have no time to lose. If the armor fully forms, we'll lose our physical advantage against that pup and will be forced to rely more on spells. Then what are we waiting for? I'll take care of the pup so dumb to use my elements, while you knock the others unconscious. Centaur has almost finished setting up the array, it's a foolproof plan. Stop thinking with your tusks, dimwit. It's all too obvious. This is either a trap or the most idiotic plan I have ever seen. Let's pretend to fall for it, but be ready to switch opponents once we understand their ruse. Imruk had used an air spell, to keep contact with its partners, no matter how distant. Copy that, Imruk, Centaur replied. I'll give you all the covering fire you need. Let's kick their *S's and go home. I'm bored already. Phew, I'm glad I get to switch target with Imruk, Turman thought. I don't like the pup with the mean eyes, he gives me an eerie feeling. I can't put my knuckles on it, but he has a vibe that reminds me of Boss Scarlet. Dash. Turman wasn't stupid, quite the contrary. Imruk knew it, and that was the reason it had lashed at the Singi's eagerness. Turman had the sharpest instinct among the three, but this time was too embarrassed for sharing its readings. Both the magical beasts charged at their opponents, Imruk in a zigzag pattern to not offer an easy target, while Turman could only advance in a straight line. Well, look at that, Lith thought. Seems that when not chasing us, they are not allowed to use fusion magic. First the Kron, and now the Rai aren't using air fusion speed boost to overwhelm us. If I'm right, this is a rare occasion to go mano a mano with a magical beast. If I'm wrong, meh. I'll fall valiantly protecting the team and get the heck out of here. Dash. Vyson had yet to finish his second spell, he needed more time. There were only so much Lith could do, with all the restrictions that the presence of witnesses burdened him with. But having already drank another set of 3 fake potions and activating air, fire and earth fusion, he was still quite confident after discovering that his opponents had restrictions too. Lith flew toward the Rai, maneuvering in all 3 dimensions, forcing it to a stop. Not this again, Imruk growled in frustration. Suddenly, switching targets didn't seem such a good idea anymore. Ah, Imruk, my stubborn apprentice. Seems like yesterday when a man-pup gave you a good beating and I once again pressed you to learn how to fly. Any creature that controls air magic should do it. Refusing to, is a sign of either pride or stupidity. Which one is your case, apprentice? Boss Scarlet's voice resounded in its ears. It doesn't seem like it was yesterday. And you repeated that 100 times already, I get it. Now shut the *CK up. This pup is troublesome. Scarlet guffawed at the Rai trying to hide its shame and embarrassment behind an angry facade. Meanwhile, Termin had almost reached the girls. When the Singi was about 30 meters, 33 yards, from them, they both launched toward it 2 yellow wisps of air magic, one from the left, one from the right, in a X pattern that left Termin no way to dodge. Oh, *T. Not this again, Termin thought. Having learned its lesson, the Singi dived nose first toward the ground, that opened under the girl's astonished eyes and turned softer than cotton, allowing the beast to burrow through like a hot knife against butter. That move had caught them unprepared, but Floria training kicked in. She kept following the tunneling effect with her eyes, while casting a Mage Knight spell with her free hand. Belia's armor was almost complete, and several full-formed ice weapons were circling around her, waiting for a command. Like Floria, she was readying another spell, cursing herself for not having bought any potion. They had asked Lith if he could share them, but the imprint system made it impossible. From opening the stopper, to drinking the liquid, only the owner was allowed to do it. There were only 2 possible options. Lith could drink and spit them into another bottle, but not only that was disgusting, it was also useless. Outside the flask, the magical properties would quickly disappear. The second one was to pass the liquid mouth to mouth. Everyone had dismissed the idea without a second thought. In the heat of the battle it would have been suicidal. When Termin came out of the ground, right under the girl's feet, like a shark from a horror movie, it met Floria's tower shield reinforced by the tower guard spell. It enhanced the conjured shield density, raising its weight and hardness to that of a rock weighing several hundred kilos. Despite tower guard, Termin came out dazed but unscathed, while the tower shield shattered on impact, forcing Floria to cast for a new one. Lith too was having a hard time. Once the initial surprise was over, the Rai had decided to ignore him and take down the weakest link. The other pup was doing nothing but casting non-stop with no apparent effect. Much to Lith's disappointment, even with the potion-like boost from fusion magic, his physical attacks had almost no effect. The thick fur was like a cushion, taking the blunt of the hits and dispersing most of the kinetic energy. Damn it, if only I could go all out with fusion magic, this would go differently. Dash. Not on my watch, Lith yelled, releasing his tier 3 spell Checkmate Spears to stall some more. But this time Amrook had its legs on the ground, and had already experienced the spell's effect. So, it used compact and high-density air shields to deflect all the spears it wasn't able to dodge while moving at high speed with air fusion. *C came sideways. Lith thought, their restrictions only apply when attacking, not defending. Dash. It took only a couple of seconds for Lith's spell effects to wear off, leaving the Rai with nothing more than a few bruises. Vyson had yet to finish. How long does it take? Lith yelled in frustration. And don't you dare answering until everything's ready. Perfection requires time, Vyson inwardly grumbled, completing the second spell and starting the third one. I swear that as soon as I get back to the academy, I'll stockpile speed potions like there's no tomorrow. How could I be so stupid? I'd really deserve a good beating. Dash. Once again, Vyson and the gods seemed to be perfectly in tune. Centaur had finally completed the dark air array in the sky, making flying above the trees impossible for the 4 students, while thunderbolts and black arrows rained from the enormous magic circle the Kron had materialized. The fast lightnings and the slower arrows coordinated their trajectories, leaving Floria's team no way out but defeat.